Hi, Judas. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Looking good. Yes, yes, I can hear you. Great hat. Looking the part.
Hello?
Um, Hi. I see
Hi,
honest
there's a
guy.
are we live?
Yes, yes, we are.
Hi, we're doing a sort of a post-Passover stream. We want to do a stream over Passover, but due to the schedule constraints, I wasn't able to do it on Passover proper. I want to welcome my friend Honest Guy, who is a very big time internet celebrity. I hope Honest Guy appears on the Claire Call channel. He's perfect for your channel. Honest Guy is a very smart young man, and he is very he is your I think he is your equal intellectually.
Oh, well, I look forward to speaking to him
I
then.
really do hope that we could get something. I have him on Discord and I have you on Facebook, so I really hope we could get a stream with you and Honest Guy because he is really a gem, and I think more people should know about him. So I have some Judaic content, some personal updates. I became more of a full-time Bekishet master. I'm wearing what is called a Bekishet. It's a type of Hasidic jacket. There's literally
Mhm.
hundreds of different styles, but this is just the one I ordered from a store in Kester Quality uh, Clothing Incorporated in Brooklyn. That's where I ordered my Becky's just from very far
Very
away.
smart.
Yeah, I got this hat on eBay. This is
Uh-huh.
actually I got this hat recently. The one I had before was way too big. It came down and it looked very weird. But now, since I started wearing these kinds of, I used to just wear these on before like starting like 2 or 3 years ago. I started only wearing these on the Sabbath and holidays and other special occasions, and now I'm doing it. Now I have the courage to do it during the week. It's kind of controversial. No people in my community don't really do this, but I do, and my rabbi hasn't said anything, and he's cool with it, and my parents are cool with it. My dad thinks I'm a lot happier now since I became a full time Beckish master because I'm
What's
peacocking
that again?
a
Can you
Beckish
say
master. I wear a Beckish to max my potential for happiness.
right? So
I'm
you
using
basically dress as a Jew most of the time? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
I wear the Hasidic garb more often now. So I might depending right now. I'm just in the stage where I just want to wear it. It makes me happy and it gets me attention. It's called peacocking. I'm peacocking for attention. Before people just see people only they only expect you to work and they thought like I should work like a dog around Gentiles who are promiscuous and anti-Israel and anti-God and right-wing values. But really, it's because they don't want me to be happy or to be successful, and because when they see me being religious, it holds a mirror to them, and they see things about them that they don't want to see, whether they acknowledge it consciously or not.
What about your Jews who are secular? I bet they don't like it either.
I don't know. I don't really talk to them. I don't
Okay.
know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm really sheltered. But should we get started on the content?
Yeah, yeah. When you're ready.
Okay, I'm just gonna drop it in the private chat, and then you can share it. Is that share? Is that okay?
Okay.
And can you for the audience, can you put it in the comment video description for people can look it up later?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, so the first video is from the genius Rabbi Hanania Weissman calling out Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi about it's COVID related. I mean vaccine related. I don't know if you can say that. Whatever.
I see. So it's Rabbi Weissman and Rabbi Mizrahi together. Is that what you're saying?
It's Rabbi Weissman versus Rabbi Mizrahi having
Okay.
a
Oh, the
debate.
two of them.
It's
Yeah.
very
Oh,
juicy
that would
debate.
be great. I look forward to it. Now I will share screen and play it once I. What? Okay, great. Now I can play it.
after 2 months that I scream, everybody must get the vaccine, enough with the
Sorry.
enough with the manipulation, enough with the conspiracy.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
All the lies, enough with the manipulation, enough with the conspiracy nonsense theories, enough with all of that. Everybody must do what the big rabbis, the chief rabbis of the world say. Her brother-in-law, another murderer with blood on his head, he is one of the first one who started WhatsApp groups brainwashing people not to get the vaccine. Because of him, she did not get the vaccine. She would listen to me or to other rabbis in Israel who keep screaming to do it. She will not be dead. It was not written for her to die. She actually killed them. The people that spoke against vaccines, they caused the death of hundreds of Israelis in Israel. The blood is on their hands. Make sure you understand that. That's the words of one of the biggest rabbis in Israel and in the world. Rav Mazuz spoke about this. He say, they are indirect murderer. They're causing the death of people with spreading fake news against vaccines. 4.5 million Israeli got vaccine. Now one of them died. Now one of them fainted. Now one of them had anything. You know, Israelis are very thorough. They check everything, numbers, statistics. That's why Pfizer agreed to start in Israel. Because in Israel, the health department is the most organized perhaps in the whole world. Every person has a record. Every disease he had is registered in a computer. Everything is advanced over there. So they wanted to see if somebody will die to prove that it's not from the vaccine. In other countries, it would stay a question mark. You will never be able to know. And in Israel, you would see if this person was in a death risk as it is before the vaccine. Because they wanted to know, not to continue to sell vaccines and kill me. 95.8% were prevented from any critical condition. Just like the companies say that the vaccine is safe, 95%. It's 95 and up. Meaning nobody died. We are close to 6,000 dead. The numbers went down more than 80%. Why not 100%? Because they are stubborn, proud, arrogant, stupid people that refuse to get vaccinated. Why? Maybe something will happen to me in the future. That something will happen to you tomorrow and you will die, you're not worried. You're going to leave orphans in a house like thousands of other Israelis, you're not worried. Maybe something will happen to you in 10 or 20 years from now. It's very unlikely to happen. You are very worried. Now you have to know, for those of you who understand or don't understand, this vaccine is different than all the other ones. It's nothing to do with the DNA. The way they do it, they inject spikes into the body, and the spikes designed to remain in a body only one day, 24 hours. That's why there's no chance that it will do something, not in 1 year and not in 20 years and not in even 10 days. It's the safest thing ever. The rest is all evil manipulations and lies by many stupid people. But thanks to this vaccine, I got the biggest punch in my face, in my heart, in my entire life. Because I found out that half of my Balei Tshuva are evil, wicked people, even more before they were secular. Today, they are more wicked today. I doubt that if Hashem will give me one tiny reward for them. They are full of ego, full of arrogance. They have zero respect to the big rabbis in the world, to the top 8 rabbis in the world who kept repeating, you must get the vaccine. They don't care about anyone. They do it their way. They have zero respect to Talmidei Chachamim. And many of them have no share to the world to come, even though they keep Shabbat and they do other things. One person wrote to me yesterday an email, I listened to you for 7 years every day. I can't look at your face anymore. Why? Because I say that everybody must get vaccine. Do you understand the ego and the arrogance of these chatzufim? To what level they go? You don't want to get a vaccine? Die at home. Who cares? Why you try to force people not to listen to the big rabbanim? Why your agenda must be winning? Some of these people, they are so evil and so full of ego that they actually sit at home reading Tehillim, that thousands of Jews will die from the vaccine, that they will be right. I have no question in my mind. They are very disappointed that not one person died. They will be so happy to find out there's 1,000 funerals now in Israel because of the vaccine. Yeah, we told you. You see, we were right. Instead of being happy, they are upset. You see from their comments, but they're lying. That's the way the world we live in. Even people have yarmulke on their head, manipulations, manipulators. They keep lying and deceiving, just for one reason: to be right, to win the argument.
Rav, can I ask a very quick question in English?
Yeah.
Rav spoke very forcefully a few years ago about the anti-vaxxers, the people who didn't take the COVID shots. And there are, in fact, people who are harmed and killed by the shots. Unfortunately, does the Rav have anything to say in retrospect or responsibility?
Every medicine, as much as it helps, has side effects and damages. We put the effect and the side effects on the scale and we see what's better. There were two options: to allow Israel to have 200,000 dead and to have few people who have heart condition and all kinds of other side effects, or not to take the vaccine of 200,000 people like in Mexico, Iran, all these places. 200,000 people died.
Right.
And because we want to prevent side effects, because of that, we're going to let so many thousands of people die. You know what you sound like? The same thing with the deal with Hamas. You know the deal with Hamas?
Sure, it's a terrible
deal.
They
released 1,027 Nazi murderers.
Right, it's crazy.
For one soldier, Gilad Shalit.
Right.
So far, 5,000 Israelis died.
And they're doing it again.
So now the question is, you also have some gain. You release the life of a Jew. Gilad Shalit, you wouldn't release him, he would be dead by now. So you save a life of a Jew and you sacrifice the life of 5,000 Jews or 4,000 Jews. Same thing with the vaccine. You save the life of 200,000 people, probably sacrifice some of the life of people. They didn't die from it,
right?
But they had
many of them. I know people. There were unfortunately people who died.
So I'm explaining to you. In life, you don't always have perfect and zero.
Right.
You have to put on a scale. What do I gain? What do I lose? In everything you do in life, in shidduchim, you're gonna get married, you find a wife. You're not gonna find Sarah in there. You're gonna see she's 70, 80% good, 20% bad. You take the bad with the good. There was no ideal solution. You wouldn't take vaccine. We already had 96 people dying every day. The vaccine lowered it to almost nothing. Then there was a second wave. There was 2,000 people that died. And in the end, 8,000 people died instead of 200,000.
We don't know. Well, the one thing I don't understand.
For sure I know, because in every other country, that's what happened. So that's the place that less people died than all over the world.
Okay.
So now, you want to ignore it because you see some sick people, fine. Every vaccine that they give to people had some side effects. Even when you take vaccine against flu, sometimes you can catch the flu. But how many people? I almost died from flu a month and a half ago.
Wow.
If I would take the vaccine against flu, I wouldn't have to.
We don't know. I mean, that's the thing. We don't know.
Until now, I suffer.
Right.
Until now, I cannot breathe and I cough and I have shortage of breath because I didn't take the flu vaccine. When you get to a certain age, you need to take some vaccines, like polio. I know a woman that she was thinking like you, and now she's on a wheelchair for 10 years already. She got polio.
Right.
Because she refused to take the vaccine. You see, the best doctors in the world were models. The biggest rabbis in the world say that everybody must take it. You hold that you shouldn't take it. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion.
Well, I'm saying, but the Rav said 5 years ago that anybody who doesn't take it is evil and is going to Gehenna and should die at home alone.
Because I tell you what, because someone who doesn't take it get the corona, and then he gives it to other people and they may die. And sure, older people, they get it and they can die.
Well,
and then he comes to Shammai and says, because you do it, and we gave it to another 20 people and 5 of them died, you have blood on your hands.
Well, 90% of the people in Israel did not take the 4th shot. Even the ones who took 1, 2, and 3 didn't take 4. And it was still mandatory at the time. So were they all murderers?
No, by then there was no mutation. By then the virus was not as deadly. It had few mutations. maybe after 2 vaccines, there was no need to
Even
take
the first
third.
shot, one third of the country didn't take the first shot. I think it's hard to say that 1/3 of the Jews in Israel are evil and are going
Let
to
me ask you
Gehenna.
a question. Do you have emunat chachamim?
Of course, well, to a certain extent.
You hold of the word of Rav Chaim Kanievsky?
Rav Chaim Kanievsky never made a psak. He didn't even hear so. I saw the video too. It was an edited video.
I said to a pregnant woman to take it and not to be afraid.
I heard from people who met Rav Kanievsky that said he shouldn't take it. It's very unclear. But he never gave her. A psak also has to be written with tshuva and Torah sources and everything. It's not just giving an instruction.
Well, it's a grandson screamed to himself, to his ear in front of the camera. Everybody must take it. The answer
But
yes. This woman is afraid. She's pregnant.
Right.
She should take it. Say yes.
No,
Why do you need more?
because no Rav has a right to tell a healthy person to take a shot that might kill him just because he might save somebody else.
To the best of my knowledge, not one person died from the shot.
I know people who did.
You think, but
Well-
I'm telling you, without the shot, you would have 200,000.
You don't know either. No one knows for
Because in
sure.
every other country, that's what happened.
Well, that's what they say.
Mexico,
No,
everywhere.
people lie. People lie. The governments lie. We don't trust governments.
I'm pro-vaccine.
Okay.
You are not. End of the argument.
I think both of us want people to
You
live.
won't convince me. I won't convince
Right.
you. Why are we wasting time now?
I'm just trying to clarify. I just thought maybe after 5 years, now a lot of information has come out that the shots really harmed a lot of people. And maybe that would have changed.
We will have 200,000 dead people here.
So
What
after
would you
5
say
years, you
then?
think
What
that
would you say then? When
We-
we had 200,000 funerals here.
we don't know what we would have had. There's no way to know.
In every other country, that was the case without vaccines.
Well, and with
Over
that,
here, from
with
the
vaccine,
minute people got the vaccine, it went down from 96 people a day to almost zero.
Right.
By random coincidence.
many people say that millions of people have been harmed by the vaccines. So we don't know. We don't know.
Many people say.
Right. So
In history, vaccines saved the life of hundreds of millions of people.
it's unclear. A lot of, I don't know. It's unclear. Okay. I was just curious thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I have a video, 15 minutes video. If you watch it, you pull your hair off. This video is a group in Bnei Brak, in the Haredi world, ultra-Orthodox Jews, who give day and night, constantly, to put flyers, to call people, to fight all the people that spread the fake news. One of them was the #1 spreader of fake news and YouTube conspiracies. For a month, they argue with him for a month with proofs, until they got him to move from the other side to their side. And you have to see what he said. We are being paid 40,000 shekel to put flyers. Someone is sponsoring this propaganda. Someone is interested that many Jews will die. It's not so simple like you think. Someone paid these evil people to spread lies in order for a lot of Jews not to get the vaccine, that they should die, that they should continue to keep Israel in quarantine forever until the country will collapse. Yes. It could be the Christian, it can be Joe So, it can be, money comes. They are being paid, they're not working for free. Every day they go and they put their lies, flyers all over Bnei Brak. Rabbis are against all lies. And he said how they were trained them to say lie, knowing it's a lie. Like someone said, but it didn't happen. Said, it's happened. That's what you have to say. It's not so simple. It's not a regular ideological argument. This is actually a battle for the future of the land. One good thing came about this vaccine, that today you find out who is a kosher religious Jew and who is a faker. Doesn't matter he has a beard or yarmulke or tzitziot all the way to the floor. Who is really accepting and respecting the Gdolei Ador, and who is doing it his way with no rabbi, no direction, no nothing.
Is it over?
Yes.
Uh,
Right. I will now remove that.
I'm gonna send another clip, another Rabbi Weissman talking about his thoughts on polygamy.
Great.
Since Honest Guy thinks this is Muslim versus Jew, this is not Muslim versus Jew hour. But I guess what we're just gonna deal with Black Pill and Torah Truth. So I'm just gonna send the clip. It's gonna start where I want to start. I because of the feature on the fancy feature on YouTube where you could start it where I believe I did it right. So if you do that, I'll should start exactly where segment where I wanted to start from.
Okay.
Let me straighten up my room a little just a moment. But yeah, you can play it.
Okay, I have to pause it. And then, sorry, my computer is a bit slow. Oops, I made a mistake. Hold on. Hold on.
This is the Boomer Tech stream. All Judah streams are generally Boomer Tech streams. Sorry. I like once again I get called Zap. I get compared to Frank Zappa. Thank you. I take that as a huge compliment.
Not during the broadcast, so you're going to have to look this up afterwards. Some people have suggested, at least for the women, if we could allow polygamy once again.
Polygamy, for God's sake. Why do people always dredge up polygamy? First of all, there's a reason why they call it Sarah. Okay, that's first of all.
Well,
Second of all,
clarify for those at home. Sarah doesn't mean it's that polygamy is an affliction. That the co-wives, two women,
right, co-wives. That you're already married, but you take a second wife, like some of the Arabs and Bedouins, right? First of all,
yes,
it's hard enough to find one woman to marry happily that's going to work out well. Let's let everybody first find one, and when everybody finds one and they're all happy and satisfied, and maybe there's a few women that are still left over somehow. Maybe we'll get them married and double people up. That makes no sense to me. Second of all, what woman wants to be a second wife? I mean, how do you put that on your shidduch resume? How do you go out with a woman and say, I'm already married, but I'm looking for a second wife?
Well,
I don't understand how that's even practical.
Some women in history who didn't mind being second wives, apparently.
Be that as it may, to float that as a possibility nowadays, I think is silly. I don't see any basis for it. It's not practical. It wouldn't fly. And even if theoretically, from a Torah standpoint, you were able to find a heter for it, which is highly questionable. But let's say that were feasible, it would only split the Orthodox world even more than it already is. But we don't need to find more things to argue about and fight about. I see very minimal benefit to the idea. Very hard to imagine a scenario where this is really making a positive impact. I just see this just going to create more chaos and more problems. I don't think that's an answer for anything.
I also believe, now my own personal opinions about polygamy thing, I'm not an advocate for it. I think it's ridiculous. As someone who's in-laws also, I cannot understand why any man would want to have multiple in-laws to deal with.
That's also.
Yeah, aside from the obvious humor, I think that, of course, it was Talmudist sages who basically promulgated the edict that Jewish men should no longer practice polygamy because they realized that the institution is not to the benefit of the women. It is also known that the sages certainly did not advocate for such a thing. Rav Soloveitchik has an essay about this. It was something that even our patriarchs only did because they had no other recourse at the time. Avram Avinu was not an advocate of polygamy, and he was wealthy even. And polygamy was basically something limited to the very rich, or even basically the people who were kings. If they weren't kings with the crown, at least they were the people who were, for whatever reason, the top of the food chain. And even then, it's not something that's recommended by any means, not by the Torah, not by the sages. I was just asking because I think that these types of things get floated when we talk about, the problems of the shidduch world.
I don't know why these things are being floated when there are real problems and real solutions and real things that we could be doing. We don't need to be talking about nonsense. I don't understand why people bring it up, honestly.
Okay. Before we go, we have 3 minutes. What do we need to know? Let's say people are approaching me wow, I'm almost middle-aged. I got some white hairs here. Not in the shidduch world. I have less opportunities to make shidduchim for friends nowadays. What can I do to help end the madness?
Okay, first of all, like I said, the next time you have a simcha, and you should be blessed with many simchas in your life, have mixed seating for the singles. And if people don't like it, that's their problem. This is something that we need to do. It is the right thing to do, and it is the urgent call of the hour. That's what we need to do. Second of all, try to help singles on their own terms. I think when people are trying to find matches for singles, they have to really know the people very well, and they have to care about them, and they have to not impose their will on the singles, but be a helper. Be somebody who's really on the side of the singles and really helping them on their terms. It's not for everybody to do. It's something that requires a great deal of time and patience and effort and emotional energy. People say everybody should be a shadchan. No, everybody should not be a shadchan, because you can cause a lot of damage to people. And it's not a mitzvah if it isn't done the right way. There's no mitzvah to harm people or hurt people, even if you have the best of intentions. And it's not meant to be easy. The shidduch profiles are intended to make things easier for the shadchanim. I've written a lot about this. We don't have time to talk about it. I think they've totally backfired and caused more harm than good. But they're intended to make life easy for the shadchan. The shadchan's life is not supposed to be easy. Finding a soulmate for a person is not easy work. You have to really be dedicated to it. You have to care about people. And you can't find a soulmate for a person if you don't know anything about their soul. I don't understand how matchmaking is done today, where people have an index card of basic facts and figures, and they just shuffle them around and propose matches. How do you find a soulmate for somebody if you don't know anything about their soul, and you don't even want to know, and you don't have the time to find out?
Well,
so
the broken clock is right twice a day, so just randomly sometimes it'll work.
Yeah, the problem is that many singles are being broken permanently because of this. It's not worth it. I don't believe in human sex sacrifice. That's the issue. It should be possible to help people without damaging everybody in the outskirts. So there's a lot of things that we can do. I would strongly recommend people to read my articles, buy my books. They're not expensive. I don't do this for money. Go on my website, watch my videos. It's all there. And there's a lot that can be done. We've only barely scratched the surface. And hopefully we'll be able to continue the conversation, and people need to get involved, and they need to not be afraid to do things the right way. There's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of social pressure. People need to not pay attention to that. Do the right thing. Do what's, because people's lives are literally at stake. And the stakes are too high for people to worry about what other people are going to say, what other people are going to think. We just have to do the right thing.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so Rabbi Hananya Weissman, of course, just plugged his website. Go check it out. Buy his books, although they're not for profit, but I still think they're a good read. And of course, read his columns. You can find Rabbi Weissman's last interview with us on YouTube and on Facebook, and this one will be on YouTube also. I'd like to remind everybody that Haggadah Pesach is still for sale, the Hebrew edition. We're still trying to raise money and pre-sell copies so that we can go to print with the English version of Haggadah Pesach, which, God willing, we will put into use this year. For the first time in a really long time, we're going to offer Korban Pesach. We'll also live to see the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash, God willing. We will live to go on the pilgrimage all together, see the ingathering of the exiles. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Send in your questions or comments. And I'd like to thank you for joining us again. Those of you who are watching at home, thank Rabbi Weissman for joining us again. Always interesting to hear from you. I'm thinking we have to hear about the issue of divorce and how that.
Yeah, that went on longer than I wanted. I just wanted to, but I have a new something that came out recently that was published by Rabbi Yarn Reuven, exposing a new thing. Exposing Ben Shapiro. This is not his first time exposing Ben Shapiro, thankfully, but this is the most recent, and I'd like to share. It's about 15 minutes long. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to share in the private chat. I'm disappointed that it's not so popping in the chat. I wish there was more people in the chat, but what can you do? Maybe people will catch you on the replay, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, my computer's being very slow today. Oh.
Miss Claire, would you ever want to do an open call stream with on a Judas stream, an open call, or is that not your genre?
Sorry, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, would you ever want to do like if I were to come on a stream, would you ever want to turn into an open call for my friends to come and chat with me on the stream?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, I think that's the next logical step because I am on a Discord server and I know at least a couple guys who might be interested in hopping on.
Okay.
They're always looking for an open platform, and I know of some other Black Pill, a couple of new Black Pill channels that you might have that are also more of an open platform, that are sequels to Thomas White, that you might be welcomed on. And since you're an elder female, so you might be your presence might be welcomed. It won't be. You won't have the toxic. It won't have the toxic vibe as a young female.
Oh yes. I know how men behave when.
Because these boys are literally young enough to be your grandson. So.
Do you think they'll be okay with behaving themselves? Language-wise.
I think they can be. I think they can be appropriate.
Okay.
I think
they have manners.
Honest guy for sure is a gentleman. He's very professional.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you familiar with Honest Guy?
I'm not sure who you mean.
No, he's a
because I don't watch your streams.
He's actually deleting his channel soon. So if you're an Honest Guy fan, you should go binge watch. And he's okay with people archiving his stuff as long as you don't dox him or anything. But yeah.
But why is he deleting his channel?
So I'm not at liberty to talk about it. All I can say is that he's getting a job, and part of his conditions for his job, which I can't go into detail about, and I myself don't know details about, and I'm not supposed to talk about. Other than this, unless it's something that Honest Guy talks about openly on stream, I don't talk about it. What was I saying?
Okay, I understand.
Just watch the thing.
Okay, no problem. If you give me the link to his channel, I'll go and have a look. Okay, so now I will play the
society. Many of the things that he says are correct. There's no problem with this.
Well, thank you.
But I wish you would just shut his mouth and stick to those topics and don't even say a single word about Torah, because every single word that comes out of his mouth when he talks Torah is heretical.
Okay, so the question was, how do I feel about people implementing Bible teaching in schools as a Jew? I think it's great. I think they should.
How dare you Catholics work for that dirty, rotten Jew, Ben Shapiro? I think, that dirty, rotten Jew, Ben Shapiro, has given quite a platform to Christians. They don't tell me what to say. Yeah. They never say, Michael, you need to drop this tenet of your faith.
And because of you, the people of Day Wire, I became a Christian and a conservative.
Ben is this great oppressor or suppressor of Christians. He's certainly not doing a very good job.
Failing.
This company is overwhelmingly Catholic and almost entirely Christian.
I'll give a little introduction. Dr. Golan Broshi is an author and professor at One for Israel Bible College, born and raised in a kibbutz, which is kind of like a Jewish commune, to Jewish parents. He came to faith in Jesus. Dr. Broshi, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Praise the Lord. It's a pleasure, Michael.
We're living in a pretty dark time. It feels as though a lot of biblical values have been completely abandoned or lost. And It seems like people are confused, even in many religious circles.
He thinks that all Christians, he makes him happy to hear that all Christians will praise their man God. And he actually says Jesus and the name that's forbidden to say.
Well, I, as a Jew, have not only no problem with people saying, for example, Christ is king.
Because he obviously does not know the law, does not know the halakha.
Yeah, and the kingship of Christ.
They're not supposed to say it, but nonetheless, even if we excuse that, he's happy that Christians are following what the Torah says is idol worship.
We've been talking a lot about the decline of religion in America, and joining us on the line to discuss is the founder of Word on Fire Catholic Ministries. You've seen him on the show before. He's Bishop Barron. Thanks so much for joining the show. Really appreciate it.
Ben, good to be with you as always.
And if that's not bad enough, Mr. Ben Shapiro says he even is humbled by the fact that the Christian missionaries want him to convert to Christianity because they worry about his soul.
I think that that's a good thing for Christians to say. I want Christians to do that because I think that for American society, more people need to declare who are Christian, that Christ is king, and go back to church. And frankly, as a Jew, I'm flattered that you care enough about my soul that you wish me to become one of you. That's a lot better than it has been historically, where people were coming after people like me with a sword and forcing conversion or forcing death. That is all not only fine, that is wonderful for me.
If his stupid mouth didn't say these words.
It seems like people are confused.
Even in many religious circles.
We all know that Christianity is not a friend of Judaism. For whatever reason or another, this shiur, this part of the Torah is like missing in the Torah of the modern and some Chabadniks today, because they're befriending them like they were BFFs. Even though the founder of Chabad was very much anti, even though the founders of modern Orthodoxy was very much anti all of this, something happened along the lines, and today's leaders or rabbis, or whatever you want to call them, are welcoming the Christians into our own houses, our living rooms, with no barriers whatsoever, and it's gotten to the point where it's too dangerous. Now, Ben Shapiro, may God help him do tshuva, but Ben Shapiro is a very smart person that's extremely stupid at the same time. Why? Because while he's given a gift from God of speech, a gift from God from thinking, a gift from God from analyzing, he forgot to analyze his own backyard.
Rabbi Goldberg, Boca Raton Synagogue. He wears his yarmulke proudly. He's never ashamed or apologizes. He's always proud to be a Jew, to stand up against anti-Semitism in defense of Israel. Ben, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Reality is, when people think of Judaism, Ben Shapiro pops up as a thought. This is a representative of Judaism, whether you like it or not. He knows it. Everybody knows it. You can't say, no, I'm not connected to the religion. When you walk around with a kippah on, and you're that popular by default, when you start talking Torah with the kippah on, you don't need any more further explanations to show how much your opinion has to be validated at all times. So when he says things that are against the Torah, like Genom is not forever, or that the soul is not sure if it's real, or if Olam Haba is real, all types of things that are heretical, these are problems.
Do you believe there's a soul or something like a soul or pattern information that represents who you are that floats off the body and continues on?
So I don't know. What I do know, and the reason why I'm religious, is that a religious lifestyle that is based on certain fundamental premises, I think makes life better for people. Pure reason alone, unleashed, without even those moorings in Judeo-Christianity, can lead to a lot of really terrible places. The idea of the afterlife is a pretty modern invention in Judaism. Yeah. It really only crops up, historically speaking, a little bit in the prophets, and it's usually the late prophets.
Right.
And it's really maybe as a response to early Christianity or Greek thought. So Judaism doesn't believe in eternal hell. So it's instead this idea that there's a cleansing process, you schmutz it up while you're alive, and now there's a cleansing process, and that's what hell is, sort of. So I'm waiting for the Messiah to come in the form of a political figure, right? So the Messiah in Judaism is a guy who's going to come back and is going to establish peace in Israel. Like, and in the Jewish view, any person can be the Messiah. Any Jew can be the Messiah in the Jewish view. Right? So I could be it. Who knows? But it's
But these are not as much of a problem as him missing the analysis of his own people. Now, I looked up his very famous, very well-known company called Daily Wire. Daily Wire has not just him as a speaker, but other people. He has a guy by the name of Michael Knowles, which to my knowledge is a Catholic person, which doesn't necessarily make him a bad person, just needless to say, This is one of his partners. But then there's a guy that I recognized. A person by the name of Andrew Clavin. Now, I knew this face. I just didn't know from where. But 5 seconds later, Yishtabach Shemo, I knew exactly where. Telling his 10 or 11-minute story of how he left Judaism and became a Christian, followers of Yoshua.
I'm Andrew Clavin. I got the worst possible mark in every class in Hebrew school. And my father used to say they can't flunk you out of being Jewish, but I came very close. And you can't know God. He's just too big for the mind unless you know him through Christ, who is a man like you.
So that means this is not like the other guy that could potentially be a Catholic, just believed in his thing. Shapiro believes in his thing, and Kumbaya. We're co-workers. There's no problem of being a co-worker of someone from a different religion. But if your co-worker / partner is a missionary...
Who's more likely to convert, Ben Shapiro or Dennis Prager? If you had to put money on it.
Now we have a problem. Why? Because now it shows either you completely lack all knowledge whatsoever of Judaism to the extent that you should never even mention you're Jewish. Needless to say, give a shiur Torah about it on your radio show and on your YouTube page. Or you disregard the laws of the sages to such an extent that you're a missionary yourself without even realizing it.
Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, believes we are all endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable.
If your partner is helping the most dangerous institution on planet Earth, One for Israel is their naming, Machshema V'zicham, run by this guy, Eitan, Moti, and Eretz, 3 Reshaim, all born Jews, all heretics, all have a #1 target of destroying Judaism.
I think that we were able to find the missing key, the lost key. And it's actually pretty simple. It's Jewish and Arab Israelis explaining the gospel to other Jewish and Arab Israelis in the Hebrew and Arabic language. It's not something that comes from outside, foreign, different. It's something that we do with our own people, and we do it by bypassing the gatekeepers. We bypass the Orthodox rabbis. We no longer need their permission or approval. We go straight into their own children's phones now.
They're not like regular missionaries. Their #1 job that puts them on a pedestal above anyone else, aside from their location being in Israel, which is not really a big deal as much anymore, is that their #1 target is to destroy the Torah.
I'm here to share good news with you. Hearts in Israel are opening to the gospel like we've never seen before. Just in 2024, we had over 20 million views on our Hebrew Gospel channel on YouTube. But that's not the best part. In this year alone, over 500,000 Israelis have subscribed to our Gospel YouTube channel in Israel, making our Gospel channel one of the top in Israel.
Another colleague of the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, a guy by the name of Michael Knowles, decides to have a podcast video that reached hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with, guess who? One of the top people in One for Israel. Yes, the very same missionary, anti-Torah, enemies of the Torah organization that Andrew Clavin also supports and speaks for at times. Andrew Clavin already made a video for One for Israel. That's old news. They want new meat. Who they get? They get another guy. Where are you going to find another guy? Let's get another guy from the same organization, the Daily Wire. Yeah, the same organization that's actually founded by an Orthodox Jew. So they get who? Michael Knowles, who on one hand practices Catholicism, but has partnered up with evangelical Christians, which in reality they're really spiritual enemies, at least according to their own scriptures. But nonetheless, you see that Michael Knowles has the same interest as the Christian missionaries, which is what? To convert Jews to Christianity. Even though many say that Catholics do not missionize, well, apparently Michael Knowles doesn't agree.
So what convinced you, other than, say, the Holy Spirit, or our Lord himself, what convinced you that Jesus really is who he says he is?
So I'll tell you what happened, and you're right that the bottom line is that the Holy Spirit opened my eyes. That's the bottom line. But I was finding myself in a yeshiva, in a school where you learn the Talmud, and this is exactly the time where a Korean friend told me to read the New Testament.
You know that certain things are forbidden and you still do it, surely you hate God. So, and while you hate God, I have to hate you. While you hate my father. You know it's wrong to bring missionaries to a shul. You know it's wrong to have partners as missionaries. You know it's wrong what he's doing. And you continue to allow this to happen, I have to hate you. But guess what? If you want to do tshuva, I'll be the first one to welcome you home. I'll be the first one to help you. Because I want you to do tshuva. Because imagine how great it would be if we could use all of those people that are currently Reshaim and use all of what they have been gifted from Shamayim to do good. To help Am Yisrael do tshuva. It would be fantastic. But until then, we have to hate them. We don't want to. We have to. Alvai, they would change, and I will be the first one to do even more shulim. Telling you, look, this guy did tshuva, that guy did tshuva, go to his channel, go to his shul, go to his show, go to this, go to that. Alvai, I wish. There's no benefit in having enemies and when they're not really against you. It's only a benefit if it's for self-preservation. Right now, Rabotai, these people that we mention in our shiurim are simply destroying Am Yisrael, one at a time, some physically, some spiritually, some both. It's important that we know who's right and who's wrong, who's righteous, who's wicked. It's very important. Why? Because that's part of the Jewish ideology. You need to know who your friends are. Be'ezrat Hashem, this gives us a little bit more clarity of how we could avoid the danger that's in front of us, because we live in a generation that's just like what was said at the end of Parashat Bereshit, where it was a generation that all day in their hearts they had thoughts of evil. All day, thoughts of evil. We live in such a generation. All day people think evil things. All day they do bad things. So we have to pick the few good fruits here and there and try to preserve them as much as possible. If we can make some of the bad ones into good ones, even better. But needless to say, we ourselves have to fix ourselves. And I think it's important for us to know that sometimes it looks good from the outside, but inside it's rotten. These are the ones that we try to bring to your attention because many people didn't know this stuff. Many people didn't know all the things that we said today, many of the other things we said in the past. B'ezrat Hashem, this will bring some more light to the people that are looking for the light, and hopefully encourage many more to do tshuva, get closer to Hashem, including those people that we mentioned themselves. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen v'Amen.
Yeah, what did you think of that? Miss Claire?
Yes, sorry.
What did you think of that?
I was talking about, well, muted. Yes, I am aware that Yaron Reuven is quite hardline on a lot of things, and I think Jews and Muslims should make it very clear to Christians that Christianity is idolatry, to make up for lost time. I think
Another thing about Ben Shapiro is that he drops the F-bomb, which is a very big sin, very severe sin.
Right, but I mean, he's secular, isn't he? He's not religious.
He's like modern Orthodox. He identifies modern Orthodox. He wears a yarmulke. He observes the Sabbath. He keeps kosher. He learns. He reads. He's fluent in Hebrew. He can read the Bible in Hebrew. He learns the Talmud in Hebrew.
Well, I guess somebody should,
I
giving him a talking to.
I actually know exactly where he went to high school.
Right. So I guess he feels he has to suck up to Christians to, earn more money.
Ben Shapiro is a lost soul, and I wish he would stop talking about Judaism. And he spreads desecration of Hashem's name, unfortunately, even though he's very smart.
Yes, sadly, a lot of highly intelligent people are very unprincipled, and I think if Jews have a purpose at all, it is to show their distaste and disgust of idolatry.
Okay. So yeah, people shouldn't listen to Ben Shapiro. I cringe when people conservatives rave about how Ben Shapiro owns the libs, but I don't care for Ben Shapiro. So the next thing is a piece from Rabbi Yom Tov Glazer. His YouTube channel is called Rabbi Yom Tov. He goes by Rabbi Yom Tov. He's a rabbi in Israel. He's from America. He's from California, my state. In this clip, he talks about a topic that I think I think comes a lot on this channel, of this topic of premarital sexuality. I have not actually seen this clip, but Rabbi Yom Tov is going to talk about why you shouldn't have premarital sex.
I suppose the usual reasons apply in that,
Again, I haven't pre-watched this. I didn't get around to
Okay,
it.
Okay, before we forget about the so many topics, do you want to comment on the ones that we've watched so far? I mean, the first one was about vaccines, and I guess, even rabbis would disagree with each other about vaccines and lockdown. And Rabbi Mizrahi was in favor of vaccines, while Rabbi Weissman is against them. And then the second one was polygamy. I thought, I think Rabbi Weissman was saying, who would want more than one wife? One is, quite enough. And I think okay, Islam allows men who are energetic and resourceful enough to have more than one wife the option of having up to 4, but in fact makes monogamy the ideal. So the Quran basically says have up to 4 if you must, but you're going to find it difficult to be fair to them, and there will be trouble. So I think that covers 2 positions. And the last video we saw was that Jews should distance themselves from idolatry. And the one we're about to watch now is, sorry, am I looking at the right one? No, we're not. Here we go. I have to close a few windows and start to share my screen.
Single person in this room, get married as quickly as possible. Like, get it done now. I get married now. Say I'm getting married this year. Everyone say I'm getting married this year. I'm getting married this year. Okay. And now Shmuel over here. How old are you, Shmuel?
I'm not getting married this year.
Don't say that. Don't say get married this year. But But what did I originally say? Everybody get married as soon as possible. You get married as soon as possible. And don't listen to these people.
I'm already married to.
What?
What do I say? I've been married for 30 years. What do I say?
Thank God.
You remind me of a guy who got divorced and no one knew he was a famous guy, but then he moved to California and got divorced. And he didn't live in California, so no one knew he got divorced. So then he got engaged, but he got engaged to a famous person. So the whole world found out that this famous woman was marrying this guy. And everyone was like, he's going to be married to 2 women. Because everyone was like, he's married. Everyone knows him. He's a married man. But that. People don't think about that when they run off to get divorced, just because like they're just going to go hibernate and get divorced. They don't realize that everyone thinks they're married still.
Why do you say get married as soon as possible?
I don't know if you want to answer that question.
I'm interested.
The question was why get married as soon as possible. So there's a couple reasons, but I mean, there's so many reasons, but one of them is you're doing an absolute, no offense, you're doing a horrific job of being single. Okay, you're doing a horrific job. Everyone who's single is doing just a horrible job of that, and you must stop trying to do your life alone, which is a whole subject in itself. But it's not okay. And so then you'd say, well, have a boyfriend, have a girlfriend, or move in with somebody. Wrong. You don't move in with somebody, or you don't get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, because that is an insult. Anyone who would date you should be slapped. Because if they're willing to date you without a commitment of marriage, that means that they're just like, as long as I can see the exit sign, I'll hang out with you. Yeah, you go to the restaurant with a guy and he keeps positioning himself to see the exit sign on the restaurant. Just got to keep my eye on the exit. Anyone who's willing to date you should be slapped. Period. Okay. And when you're ready to get married and then you date, anyone willing to date you is a serious contender. That's someone who's worth dating. Whereas if you're not willing to get married and you're not ready to get married, which means, and by the way, how do you get ready to get married? How do you get ready to get married? It's very simple. It's very simple. You make a deadline. How do you get ready for finals? A deadline. How do you get essays done in university? You have a deadline. How do you get packed for a trip? You have a deadline. Now, if you're like most human beings, you wait till the last minute. But with a real deadline, you're done. You're done. So, well, you may say, like, well, how do you make a deadline for getting married? And the answer is that you write a resume, you put it in an envelope, and you have a deadline when you're going to hand it to the matchmakers, to people who make matches. Now, some of you are like, I don't want some random person making a match for me. Okay, fine. Stay single. Stay single, because they're good at that. I don't think you would do anything without the people who are good at it, especially if anything worthwhile. There are certain people with a gene for networking. You need that gene to make matches. And everyone always comes up to us Aish rabbis and the Orsmaic rabbis and the Mayanot rabbis, and they're like, oh, he's so insightful. Surely he'll know who I'm supposed to marry. But you go ask all those people how many shidduchim they made. Yeah? And let me teach you a little Spanish. Nada. Yeah? And that's not even the right word. How do you say none? Nunca. Let me teach you a little Spanish. Everyone say the word nunca. Nunca means none. Yeah, because the people with that specific gene to know who goes with who, they're generally emotional basket cases, by the way, unless they've done serious work on themselves. They're interesting people. Not the kind of people you want to spend more than a half hour with, just handing them your resume and giving them somewhat of a sense of you, and then get out of there and let them get to work. But you have a deadline. If you know you're handing your resume, your marriage resume to somebody on this and this date, I promise you'll be ready by that date, just like you're ready for everything once you have a date. But the nebulous, like, oh, I'll get married someday. Forget about it. And you want to know something? I'll go one last reason, then we're going back to this. One last reason is by the time, no offense, I don't even know who you are, but it's like, make this about someone else. But by the time you get your act together and finally decided you were ready for this, you're going to turn around to the dating pool and you're going to see a used car lot as far as the eye can see. Okay, it's a rental used car lot. Yeah, it's called Rent-A-Wreck. Yeah, and it's as far as the eye can see because it's the people in your pool. Which people are in your pool? The same people in your pool are the same idiots who thought they should stay single for several years. And so welcome to your dating pool. Good luck. Have a nice marriage, bring boxing gloves. You need a mouthpiece for this marriage. So the whole point of marriage is having a safe place to put your heart. But how are you supposed to have a heart to put safely if it's been egg sliced from every direction in every stupid relationship that you gave your heart to without the commitment, meaning all those relationships that had exit signs? There's no exit for marriage. I mean, there is, but it's hell. If you want to have an intimate relationship with someone, you have to have hell to pay. Otherwise, you'll always hold back. And this is one of the saddest things, and this falls more on girls than boys, is people are so lonely that they'll pretend someone's holding their heart. Meaning they'll fool themselves into thinking they're letting someone hold their heart. But they don't realize that they're unconsciously withholding most of the weight of their heart. They're kind of pulling it off because they don't want to get dumb. They don't want to be a liability. They're like unconsciously making themselves as low maintenance as that they're holding their heart should be as low maintenance as possible. But all of this is just an indication of how hurt and lonely that I'll even pretend someone's holding my heart for a month, for 6 months, for a year, for 2 years, 3 years. And this is why you'll notice how many people get divorced. You know what? I'm not even going to say that. You'll notice that people after they get married realize what a weight their spouse is. They didn't realize how heavy it is. And that why? Because she finally let the weight drop. And now he's like, oh my gosh, this isn't who I married. And the answer is, you're right. I mean, she wasn't really letting you hold her heart because she was trying to keep herself from getting dumped all that time. Now, do you think I could keep going on this? You think I got about 20 more levels of why get married as soon as possible?
Yes.
Yes, I do. I'm not going to keep going on this. I could just do the whole class on this and go. We would just go detail after detail after detail after detail. It's a whole long outline of why get married as soon as possible. And when I say that, obviously I'm saying get ready. But the only thing that'll get you ready is the deadline. So just make a deadline and say, I'm getting married, but I'm starting serious dating for marriage from this point on. And just one more little piece of advice is do not let him touch you. Again, anyone who's dating you should be slapped. Don't let him touch you. He may not touch you. Do not let him touch you. If he wants to touch you, slap him. Give him a cold shower. They don't get the goods. They don't get the goods until they put an insurance policy on your ring finger. This was a secret that women knew for thousands of years. But in the whole women's liberation and feminism that killed females today, they were like those women from the 1950s till late 60s were like, we want to be like the men. We want to be like the men. We want to be like the men. These originators of this. We want to be like the men, except for one thing. The men get to be slime balls, and we have to be good girls. And then came along the late 1960s, the sexual revolution, and at which point the women just said, that whole we want to be like the men, we want to be like the men, we want to be like the men. They took their last card in the poker game, and they just put it on the table. And ever since that day, men rent. Why buy when you can rent? No man even bothered with liability again after that. Until he turned around at 36 years old in Midtown Manhattan and realized he forgot to get married to see a used car lot as far as the eye can see. Now, I know this sounds rough, but somebody's got to say this stuff because I meet people all the time. All the time I'm meeting people who are just postponing these things. And my daughter's getting married on Monday, thank God. And my brother-in-law said that his 15-year-old daughter was thinking about it, and my wife's brother, his 15-year-old daughter was thinking about it. He said the way the Glazers work, it's likely that the Glazers, that my cousin's children will get married before me, because if I get married around the age my parents got married, because they're not observant, they got married in their 30s or mid-30s. So by the time she would be in her mid-30s, my grandkids, because I already have like a 5-year-old grandkid, well, that kid will be, she'll be where the Hasidic population gets married. So she said that my cousin's kids will probably get married before me. And that wasn't her complaining, by the way. She wasn't saying, wow, I better get married. That was her just stating a fact that everyone seems to take for granted, at least in the secular society. And you should know, all of the world population until last couple 100 years, but for thousands of years, every girl got married between 12 and 14, and every boy got married between 14 and 16. Now, there's not a man in this room who wouldn't have said that would have been a relief when they were 18 years old, to have his bread, as our sages call it, have his bread in the basket. Because it's nearly torture to be anywhere between 18 and 22 years old, single as a male. Not to mention these days, it's dangerous. But what a pleasure your life would have been had you already had your bread in the basket during those years. Now, again, I'm not advocating for men to be getting married between 14 and 16, nor am I advocating for girls to get married 12 to 14. What I would be advocating is that society gets back to its healthiness so that we could go back to those standards. That would be great. If society was healthy enough to go back to that, that would be wonderful. But in the meantime, we're not there at all. Not at all, but at least a girl could potentially prepare herself by the time if she had the cutoff. She needs that deadline. Now, by the way, you might say, well, how does it work in Hasidic society? Where's the deadline? And the answer is your older sister. See, if you're a 9-year-old girl, or a 9-year-old boy, and your oldest sibling gets engaged at 18, that's the bar. You're a different 16-year-old when you turn 16. When you were 9 and your 18-year-old sibling got engaged and married at 18, you're a different 16-year-old when you're 16, right? The time is ticking, and you start maturing because there's a deadline, and it causes you to grow in ways you'd never grow. And I've been watching this because my oldest daughter got engaged at that age, a little younger, she was 17. And I watched all my daughters suddenly hit this growth track that grows them into marriage. But all the people, like any of you in the room who did not have siblings doing that, so you're on this totally other track. And I'm saying, create an artificial deadline and get tracked so that you don't deal with any more nonsense. So you can put your heart where it belongs, and that's in the committed hands of somebody who has no reasons.
Okay, I think we're about to wrap up soon. I'm just gonna post the last video. It's Lahavdil bin Chaim, Lahavdil Elif Havdalot. We're gonna do an Islamic video of a sheikh talking about why music, singing, and instruments is satanic. I am not a Muslim. I just want to show you all how converting to Islam is a huge mistake, because you're not allowed to listen to music if you're a true Muslim, as confirmed by the Sunnah and the Hadith or whatever. Can you hear me, Claire? Miss Claire?
Fine. You know, a lot of the stupid shit that you hear about Islam comes from hadith. You know, there's nothing in the Quran that says you're not supposed to listen to music. You know, and I know these Muslims prefer the hadithic shit.
I think hadith is like a legit like Islamic scripture, but let's just listen to the sheikh. I don't listen to this. You spew a lot. I'm not Muslim, but you spew a lot kafir shit. To be quite honest.
Oh, it's true that the Quran does not forbid music.
Okay, Muslims are gonna. We can go into more, but this is a 5-minute clip I wanted to close on.
Okay.
Because we're
but just to say that, you know, a lot of the
mark.
stupid shit you hear about Muslims comes from the hadith, and dumb Muslims prefer the hadithic shit that isn't even from God to the Quran. And I think they should, you know, have a think about things and decide that the Quran is the primary source of the word of God, and hadithic shit is hadithic shit. Particularly when it contradicts the Quran. Just my 2 cents worth on the matter. Share screen. Oh, sorry. I didn't. I played it without putting it on, so I'll have to start again. Right. Here we go again. Sorry about that.
Tony says, is it true that music is the instruments of Satan, and that is why it is prohibited for us? Well, this was stated by some of the scholars. Not only that, in the hadith, when the Prophet ﷺ was in Aisha's house on a day of Eid, and he was lying on his side, giving his face to the wall, and there were 2 young girls, slaves, singing. So it's a day of Eid. And we know that on the day of Eid and on weddings, we are permitted to use the duf and to sing and to enjoy. It's a day of celebration. So Abu Bakr comes into his daughter's house. May Allah be pleased with them. And he sees the 2 girls singing. So he says, objecting to what he sees, Amazamiru shaitan, in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, do I see the flutes and the pipes of Satan being played? There's no music, by the way. They were just singing, and probably with the duf. So the Prophet ﷺ did not say, oh Abu Bakr, these are not the pipes and the instruments of shaitan. He did not say that to him, which means he's approving what he had said. But he said to him, leave them, Abu Bakr, so that people would know we have room in our religion for entertainment. So from this and others, some scholars said, yes, musical instruments are the instruments of shaitan because it corrupts the heart, unlike what most people believe, but it does. And those in the West and Muslims who are already having corrupt hearts won't be able to understand this because they've never tried living without music. Music is addictive. Music transforms you from one state of mind to the other. Go to any gym. Try to do the aerobic routine without any music, and then do it with the music, and you will find a lot of difference. The energy that people get is from shaitan. And this is why Allah says in Ayah 64, chapter 16, speaking to shaitan, وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ. Provoke whomever you can from them with your voice. Imam Mujahid says in the tafsir, his voice is music and singing. You can see people listening to soft music, love song, romantic songs, driving down the highway, doing 5-10 miles per hour, mellow, very chilling, having a good time. And when they listen to pop music or hard rock, heavy metal, you're seeing them doing 120 miles per hour. What is this? It's transforming them. It's controlling them. So it is a tool of shaitan. Let those who say that it relaxes you, Beethoven, Mozart, Bach, whatever, it relaxes you. It's good for you when you eat dinner on candle lights and the violin is playing around. Muslims don't believe in that, because the one who created us is the one who told us that this is haram. So should I believe you or believe Allah Azza wa Jal? Believe the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Try to watch any movie without its soundtrack. And with the soundtrack, you find people crying, weeping, emotionally involved, because the music, the theme itself. That's why you have Oscars for the soundtrack. It has a huge impact on people's personality and feelings. So definitely it is something that is haram.
Okay, I know we said we would close. I'm gonna send one more thing. I think just like for background, it's a short clip. It's not as long. It's not near. It's a very brief clip. A YouTube short.
Yeah.
It's
So,
relevant to
so the purpose of you coming on is to play, to make me watch lots of videos with you. Is that it?
It's more of a curation for the community, so they can get more content.
Is this a final one?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be the last one, because you triggered me with your anti-Hadith stuff, so we need a. I'm triggered by that. So
Good, because I think everybody should be triggered. So, did you say you had somebody to come and join us, or
no,
you're just going to
that'll
keep
be
showing
in
me
future-
video after video
that's-
after video?
That's future stream. This is the last clip, and then we'll just do I can do the outro.
Okay. Why are you respecting the Hadith so much, Jew?
Because it's just I respect Sheikh Asim, and he's based and very based and funny. He's like,
Really? I didn't find him funny at all, but I guess
okay, well,
don't
the
you
reason
like
I find him
music?
funny is because he reminds me of the rabbis I grew up with. So you probably,
So do you listen to music?
yeah, I listen to music. I'm not Muslim. I love music. How come Rabbi Ovadia Yosef loved music, and that's all the documentation you need to know that Jewish people can and should listen to music in moderation.
Yeah, I mean, I entirely get it that some songs and lyrics are encouraging sin, but that's not to say
Well, that's
that
why more
all
detail.
music is haram.
We don't. I try not to go into too much detail over stream because it just bores people. Just the Cliff Notes version on stream.
It doesn't seem to be playing. Isn't it supposed to play automatically?
Authentic book for Muslims. Any Muslim Sunni, you would ask him, he would say Sahih al-Bukhari. This is the most authentic book on earth after the Quran. And in Sahih al-Bukhari, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that there will be people of my ummah making haram things halal. And they would make adultery, fornication. They would make silk. They would make consuming intoxicants, khamr, and music instruments halal. 4 things. The Prophet ﷺ told us that there will come people who would make these haram things halal. So the Prophet is the one who told us that music is haram. And the evidence behind it is overwhelming. But if you go to the Sunnah, the most authentic book for Muslims, any Muslim Sunni, you would ask him, he would say Sahih al-Bukhari. This is the most authentic book on earth after the Quran. And in Sahih al-Bukhari, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that there will be people of my ummah making haram things halal. And they would make adultery, fornication.
Yeah, so he was quoting.
Yeah,
some,
that's enough.
What is that
Yeah,
book that he was quoting from?
What?
What's that book? Are you familiar with that book? He asked.
That's a hadith. He's referring to the hadith. Sahih Bukhari is
The hadith. Why do you hate the hadith, Claire, Miss Claire? Why do you hate the hadith so much?
You don't know that it prescribes punishments that aren't even in the Quran. It just makes Islam. It just turns Islam into.
That's beautiful.
It just turns. Are you going to listen, or are you going to interrupt me? Are you going to interrupt me?
Let me finish. I'm sorry. I know it's your stream.
You asked me a question. I was answering.
I know, but it makes more sense for there to be extra textual information.
Sure, they can.
Because
I don't reject all of it.
It's impossible to have like.
Yeah, I know. I know. So I'm not saying all of it is shit. I'm just saying the shit bits of it are shit. Okay, an example
Muslims
would be
themselves even say like such and such hadith is not authentic. I think
good. I'm glad you're aware that
they record the inauthentic hadiths as a matter of like keeping record of which hadiths are authentic and which are not.
but so they shouldn't follow sick shit then, should they?
No,
we can't play music. And this, what's his name? He's a real ugly son of a bitch, isn't he?
Whoa! And now you're just ranking about like his physical appearance.
I just think he's ugly. He looks stupid, and he should maybe shut the fuck up.
Me?
No, him. This ugly son of a bitch.
Why do you hate my sheikh so much?
Is he your sheikh?
No, but
he's a fucking ugly son of a bitch, isn't he?
If this was like if we met like an alternate reality version of me, like Bizarro Rabbi Judas from Bizarro World, his name is Musa. He's like a Muslim.
Yeah, I know, but he's an ugly son of a bitch telling us not to listen to music because of some sick shit hadith that he's attached to. So.
Okay, well, I'm glad I hope that was entertaining for your viewers to see us argue about the Hadith and the Quran. Thank you for having me.
I do want to make my position clear on the Hadith, and ugly sons of bitches who say we can't listen to music because the Hadith says no. The Quran doesn't say that.
Okay. Well, I'm not a Muslim, so I don't really have a dog in this fight, and I don't really care.
Well, I mean, you don't have a dog in this fight because you're not forbidden from listening to music.
I think you're just. I just think that secular Quranism would be harder to sell if there was a ban on music.
Yeah, I'm saying that my interpretation of the Quran is better than their stupid shit.
Okay, Iman Claire, Sheikha.
But yeah, they are the worst salesmen of Islam. I mean, I think it's a great
So
book.
you like Shiite more than Sunni?
No, I don't think
Because
Muslims.
Shiites are kafirs for real. Shiites for real are. I'm Rabbi Judas Clay. I'm not Muslim, but I'm declaring Shiites as kafirs.
Yeah, I mean, but both have peculiar beliefs. Both Sunni and Shia have peculiar beliefs, and all these divisions were political anyway. They're not doctrinal.
It's all made up nonsense. Yeah, it's all made up nonsense. You're right about that.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Great Schism of
The Quran is made up.
Christianity.
The Hadith is made up. All this, it's all made up.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as that. I mean, I actually think that the Quran is a better guide to humanity than the Torah, simply because it doesn't have 36 capital offenses.
The Quran is an easier guide to humanity than the Torah.
It's Judaism light.
Yes, I agree.
And because it's sort of more reasonable and not full of capital punishments.
My mom likes how she wishes kosher was like how halal is like much easier than kosher, even though it's hard to get halal meat in America, but it's easy to go to be in America and get like a halal meal at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, I know that what is halal is not kosher, but what is kosher is halal.
I think if you're halal, if you keep halal, if you're Muslim, you keep halal, and that's important to you. You can I don't know, ask your sheikh, but I think you go to like the local In-N-Out burger here in California and get like their cheeseburgers. Those, they don't have meat. I don't know if that's rennet. I don't know if that makes a difference, but it doesn't have meat, and it's like really good. It's just cheese.
Well, oh, right. So you have kosher cheeseburgers. Is that what you're saying?
No, I said if a Muslim can just go to like a burger shop and get like a burger without meat.
Well, but it's just a vegetarian.
Yeah, they could do vegetarian. They could do vegetarian options. Everyone in my family wishes that was like the case with kosher, and they're like in kind of a sad delusion about it.
Yeah, I suppose the dietary restrictions are to, distance yourself from, other.
Right, and in Islam, you're supposed to make everyone Muslim, so it makes sense to make the dietary restrictions easy, so you can go to the places where the kafirs are to do dawah to them.
Well, I think it's probably, when you're ordering food, the person. When you have dietary restrictions, a person who has dietary restrictions will get the preference, right? Because if somebody says, "Oh, I don't mind. I don't, I'm omnivorous. I don't mind if it's halal or kosher, or not even halal, or so." But the person who wants it to be halal or kosher will get their preferences preferred. So that's sort of logical and unavoidable. But I guess that people are saying that halal slaughter is more humane than non-halal slaughter, and
it's totally false. But yeah, anyway,
yes, it's a complicated.
I think we're going an hour 30 minutes. People are dropping off. There's nothing. This chat is dead. I think we should close this line now, because I'm gonna submit this some internet celebrities, have them see what they think of the content.
Oh, you're gonna submit it to internet celebrities,
yes,
such as who?
Real internet celebrities. I cannot name them on stream. It's bad. But can I suggest? Can I suggest some channels for people to check out?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, my favorite channel is called Collective Dismal. Go subscribe to Collective Dismal.
Is that you?
No, Collective Dismal is someone who streams with another guy named Thomas White. Check out Thomas White. He streams with another dude named Western Decline. Check out Western Decline. There's another channel that started recently called Little Broomstick. I did some streams there. It's an open platform. Little Broomstick. Check it out. He's also been on Thomas White. And check out, there's this really good Black Pill Inkwell server channel called Rehab Room. Check out Rehab Room. Check out Hyperborean Knowledge. Check out Dark Pills with Mercer. Check out Julius Perceiver and his other channel, Julius Perceiver Raw. And also check out Tijana and McHenry Cruiser. Those are all my channel recommendations. Go check them out and send them your support.
Okay, Judas, it would be helpful if you send me all the links. So
Yeah, I can do that later.
I
Definitely can do that later. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming, Judas.
Have a good week. I wish everyone a good week, a Shavua Tov, and to all my Jewish friends and listeners, I wish you Shavuot, happy holidays, happy Shavuot, Chag Sameach, Kol Tuv Sela. A good Mazel Dig week.
Okay. Thank you, Judas. Goodbye, and thank you.